Honestly, I don't know what I would have done if as a kid I had a doll like M3GAN or Chucky. Welcome back everyone to another video here on this channel, Royal Horror, and today I'm going to debut a new series and it's called Look Alike Horror Movies, and it's basically that I'm going to compare two movies that obviously look alike but at the same time obviously they are very different. And I'm really excited that the debut of this series is about two movies about dolls, as you heard by the intro, and those movies will be M3GAN from 2023 against Child's Play from 2019, the remake. Now I didn't decide to compare M3GAN to the Child's Play original because they are not that similar, they are very different films. So the formula that I follow to this recipe called Look Alike Horror Movies is I'm going to compare stuff like the characters, and also will compare the storyline, like how is the storyline paced, if it's too long, if it's too short, stuff like that. And I will also compare stuff like the cinematography, the lighting, the color grading, the camera, the kind of shots. And because these movies are kind of slashers, or because these movies involve kills, I will compare how are the kills in each movie, which one does it better, how is the gore, the practical effects, all of that. So to kick off this comparison, I just want to talk briefly about both movies because obviously it was my first time watching M3GAN like 2 days ago, and it was my second time watching Child's Play, the remake. The first time that I watched that movie was when it came out. Now I'm gonna say that I'm not the biggest fan of the Child's Play franchise, but that's another topic for another video. But I have to say that overall I really enjoyed both movies. I think you can take something out of each movie. Obviously when I go into the comparison I will give stuff or which movie is better for me, but overall I do think that both movies, they do what they want to do. And one of the things that I like the most about both movies is that they're very self-aware, and the producer and directors, that was their intention. They really wanted to make something silly in a way, especially the Child's Play remake. So to start doing the comparison, because that's what we're here for, so let's start comparing one of the main lead characters out of both films, and those are the moms, because both films, again, they're very similar and both films have a single mom. Let's start talking about the mom from Child's Play, the remake. Now I have to say that I overall enjoyed this character. I think she was very comedic and I think that gave a nice touch to this film. Obviously I think Andres Plaza acting was amazing. I really had such a nice time watching her on my screen. However, I have to say that I didn't believe she was the mom of this kid. I think it would have been better if she was like the big sister, the older sister, instead of a mom, because the relationship she had with the kid, it was like quite weird and quite cringy, because like a normal mom wouldn't have done the stuff that Audrey Plaza's character does on this film. One thing that I didn't like too much about this mom is that she doesn't really is worried about what happens to this kid and Chucky when they are together. And also I don't think the mom of this film is that important. I think she is a very side character. We don't see her that much, just in between, like at the beginning of the film and when the film concludes. So we don't really see her too much, so we don't learn much about her. That's fine for me because obviously Child's Play remake is mostly about Andy and Chucky, so we don't have to watch the mom too much, but just because she was a single mom with Andy, it would have been better to see more of that connection between the two of them. And when it comes to the mom in M3GAN, the single mom, because obviously, spoiler alert, this video is obviously contain spoilers, so I have to say that I really like these characters. First of all, the acting is phenomenal. I think she did such an amazing job doing this character. I have to say that overall I enjoyed this mom, I enjoyed this character because like she really wanted to help this kid, but obviously because she was new, she couldn't know how to do it, so obviously she created what she knows how to do best. So that's why she created, like she kind of developed M3GAN just for her. And as the movie progresses, this mom, she does get worried about the M3GAN situation with the kid, so that gave her a human touch, if that makes sense. And also I really like the relationship between this mom and M3GAN, because compared to the mom and from Child's Play, honestly she doesn't really have a connection with Chucky. She just bought him or like stole him and that's it, so they're not really bonded, if that makes sense. However, the mom in M3GAN obviously has a stronger relationship with her because she is the creator of M3GAN. so that makes it even more interesting to me. Passing from the mom, let's talk about the kids. I'm not gonna talk about the other lead characters because I mean they're not that relevant to the storyline or like for this video, if that makes sense. So let's talk about the protagonist in a way, which are the kids. And overall I think those kids are honestly very different because at the same time similar. What makes them similar, and it's because obviously both have like a kind of a trauma. Obviously Katie lost her parents and Andy lost her dad, and obviously he's seen her mom with like many kind of boyfriends, and the last boyfriend that she has is horrible, so they don't really have like a stable home, if that makes sense. So that makes them very similar. Obviously what makes them similar too is that they have like a new friend, which is a technological robot doll. And also what makes them similar is that they become very attached to this doll and they don't really care about their outsiders. Now what makes them different is that of the way they interact with the doll. Now when we talk about Katie from M3GAN from 2023, I have to say that I overall enjoyed her character. She felt very real, like that's the way a 9-year-old will act. But one of the things that I liked most about this character, Katie, is the way she plays with M3GAN and the intention she has with M3GAN. Like she doesn't mean to make any harm to anyone with M3GAN. She just wants M3GAN as a friend, as her close sister, if that makes sense. Like she just wants someone to talk to. And honestly, compared to Andy, I think Katie's and M3GAN's relationship felt more real, more smooth, more natural in a way. And finally, the final thing that I want to say about Katie is that like it makes so much sense for Katie to be this close to M3GAN for the movie, because obviously what happened to her. So it's not like her aunt just decided to make M3GAN for her niece in a way. Now talking about Andy from the Child's Play remake, I don't like this character too much. I think this kid was a bit annoying. One of the stuff that makes Andy unique compared to Katie is that he is more affected because of the stuff that Chucky is doing around him. While Katie, she's not that involved of what M3GAN is doing, so there is a difference in between those films. So I like that about Andy, that he's more involved with Chucky when Chucky is a villain. So I think Andy is kind of a good final boy because of the interactions he has with Chucky. When the movie is progressing, in a way, he interacts more with Chucky as a villain than Katie did with M3GAN. Now, to conclude the part of the characters, obviously let's talk about the main thing about both movies, and that is the dolls. Let's start talking about Chucky. The thing that I want to say is that I do like the design of this doll. I know it's not that well loved by the horror community. I didn't mind this design, I think it was very creepy. So I like how Chucky, because even though Chucky is doing something innocent or trying to be somebody else's friend, he still looks creepy, and the way he sounds is also very creepy. I really like the way Chucky killed people, like his kills were very creative, even though they're not so believable, and that really like took me out of the film. I know this film is supposed to be like a comedy horror, so you don't have to take this movie too seriously, but there are limits, and I think this movie really pushes those limits when it comes to the kills, because they're way unbelievable, and that really took me off slightly. Now when it comes to M3GAN, I loved M3GAN so much. I think this doll was iconic. I love the design. Maybe she doesn't look as creepy as Chucky, but it's okay. I just love her overall. She was so iconic. I love the way she talked. I love the way she moved. I laughed so much with M3GAN, especially when she was singing out of nowhere. That was so funny. Like the screen where I was watching this movie and myself, we were laughing so much. And also I really liked how like ironic M3GAN is. I love her responses, how selfish she becomes, how responsive she becomes. I think her dialogues and her lines are way better than the Chucky ones. Now when it comes to the storyline, overall I do enjoy both the storylines. I think they are entertaining, I think they are interesting. I didn't feel bored with any of the storylines. Both the storylines make sense for their own sake, if that makes sense. Overall, when it comes to the storyline from M3GAN, I think it's more interesting than the Child's Play one, because it's more realistic in a sense. I really enjoyed that M3GAN is like the first of its kind And overall, I think M3GAN's storyline is quite well paced. Like, I didn't feel bored. I think each act made sense. I know the first act can be kind of dragging for some people, but I didn't mind it. I love the way M3GAN interacts with Katie throughout the whole film, even giving her like life advices. That was really great. Like, I love those parts, because like you wouldn't expect that from Chucky. And when it comes to storyline with Child's Play, the remake, I think it was a little bit more of cliche. Obviously, this movie is coming from an original movie from the 80s. Obviously, you have seen this storyline before. But obviously, what makes this movie unique is that Chucky is still a robot. It's still a technological piece, like M3GAN is. Obviously, Chucky is not one of its kind, like there are many Chuckys all around the place. But I do enjoy Chucky when he is like very creepy and evil, especially when he's killing everyone that is making Andy harm. I think that was hilarious. Now, we're gonna talk about stuff like the kills, because both movies involve kills. And I just have to say that overall, I do prefer the kills from Child's Play, because obviously they are way graphic. They have more gore, they have more blood, they are more creative, of course. When it comes to M3GAN, that's one of the things that I didn't like about the film, the kills. I think the kills, they could have done so much more. They could have done way more with the kills, like a little bit of gore, like it doesn't harm anyone, especially because M3GAN is a badass, so M3GAN wouldn't care about destroying a human being, if that makes sense. So I don't understand why M3GAN wasn't gory. I personally don't like when kills are off screen, and M3GAN has a lot of those. And now finally, the last thing we're gonna talk about is the cinematography. Overall, again, I do prefer the cinematography from Child's Play, because obviously it's more sinister in a way because of Chucky. I love the lighting. I think the lighting in the Child's Play remake is gorgeous, especially during the night shots or like at the market. Because obviously the movie plays a lot with red and blue. So that was when it comes to the M3GAN cinematography. I really like the cinematography, don't get me wrong. I think M3GAN uses a lot of bright shots. I really liked that the M3GAN, they use a lot of close-up shots to M3GAN's face to see how her face changes when she is around Katie, or when someone is doing something wrong to Katie, or when she's about to kill. Overall, in my opinion, I do prefer M3GAN, because I felt more entertained. It was funnier, it was hilarious. M3GAN is more iconic than Chucky from the remake. So obviously I do prefer M3GAN, but I will rewatch the Child's Play remake 100 times, because I also like that movie. It's not that bad like many people seem it to be. So I really hope you enjoyed this comparison. Stay tuned for more comparisons in the future. If you have any idea of a duo that could go into like the look-alike horror movies, let me know in the comment section below what next video should I make for this series. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you have a nice end of the week, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.